Good afternoon, friends. Gary here outside of my garage, here with cameraman Alex, and working on my 1996 Astro van. The problem that we've got is the speedometer has went all the way around and pegged to like indicating we're going 160 miles an hour, and nearly impossible with this giant beast. But one of the causes is if you change your battery out, just an electrical spike can cause this to happen. And so what I'm going to do is try to show you how to reset that. I haven't done this before, but I've heard how it's done, so we'll give it a shot. As you can see here, the speedometer, it's on the, there's a little peg in there, and it's actually on the right side of that peg, which would mean that it's went all the way around and it's stuck now, as opposed to where it should be on this other side of the peg. So that's the problem we're trying to fix. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is we got to take this big dash panel off. This is just a cover. It looks intimidating because it's like, well, how do you even take that off? But really it's just held by clips. And to make it easier to pull off, I've lowered the steering wheel to the lowest position. I've also put my shifter gear down into the lowest position, all to just make more room here to pull this off. And then this lower valance here, there's just 3 screws, one on this side, 2 underneath, that I've already taken out, and I've just to lower that, just to make it, again, make it easier to pull this valance off. Now to do that, there's just clips that are in behind here, and what you want to do is just gently, and I'll start at this side, just gently kind of pull. There's one that popped, you could hear that. Here's another one. And then you just kind of work your way around. As you can see, I'm just pulling this gently, popping these clips in order to get this off. Okay, so I've loosened all these clips, popped this all out, so this is loose. And now what we'll have to do is there's actually a little connector behind here, an electrical connector, a connector here, and the connectors over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect those in order to take the whole thing out. Okay, so we've taken this front cover off, and we'll show you that in just a minute, but I wanted to show you the 3 electrical connections that we also had to take off. And we started on this side. You just want to kind of pull it away, get behind there, and take these off. We'll show you how they're connected in a minute. But we got this connection here, and actually this piece comes off through the valance when we take it off. And then we've got a connector here, and then the one over here for the lights. Hopefully you can see that. Alex, can you see that? Okay. So in addition to prying all the clips, and these are the holes where the clips go, I'll show you those as well. We do have these 3 electrical connections that you have to take off from behind. And we'll show you the valance outside here and how they disconnect. So we're outside now. Just want to show you the cover that we got the cover off. And I want to point out those 3 electrical connections that we had to make. You can see the one here for the wipers, this one here for the rear hatch, over here for the lights. And I'm going to turn this around, show you those connections. And you can see here the connection for the lights. There's just an electrical plug that plugs right in here, and there's a little, on that connector, there's a little plastic tab that catches here, in here, and so you just basically push this in to pull the plug out. This one here, kind of similar but a little different. There's a tab here that you actually pull out, and then you pull the connector out. So this little tab you just pry out, so then the clip can, there's a little clip behind it that can come out, and you just pull this off with that pulled out. And then the third one here, there's clips on the side that you press in order to pull this out. So back inside the van, next thing I'm going to do is take off this clear plastic cover And to do that, I'm using one of only two tools you need for this whole job. This is I believe a torque bits. It's like a star head screwdriver, and basically it's held in by these copper little screws here. If you don't have this screwdriver, a little socket may work as well. So I think they're also, you could use a little socket on it, but I use the torque bits. But there's four of these. There's two on the top, two on the bottom. So I'm going to take those off and remove this cover. So now we have access to the speedometer, and basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this needle and I'm going to move it back all the way around. And there, it's reset. So now I'm going to start to put things back in reverse order. So now I'm going to put the plastic cover back on, and now's a great time to clean it, by the way. So I did take it in and cleaned it up, because you can get behind it as well. Gets all the dust off it, makes it look a lot cleaner. And so you simply just set it back up on there, and then use the same copper colored screws that you removed when taking it off. So I'm going to put the cover back on now, and I'm going to get it in position, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to first put these electrical connections back on, these three electrical connections, before I push it back in place where the clips will hold it. And I'm starting on the left side here, kind of reverse of what we did when we took it apart. So I've got my electrical connections made, and I've set it into position, and then what I do is I'm just going to start on this side, which is, you know, so I pulled it off this way and went across when I took it apart. So now I want to start over here and just get it aligned up, and then just give it a little bit of tap and kind of lock those clips in there. And there we go. All snap back into place. Now the last thing I need to do is just put this lower valance back up, and it has clips as well, a couple clips. Push it up in there, and then there's the three screws, one over here on the side, they're real easy to see, two underneath. I'm going to put those in, and that'll hold that in place, and then we should be all done. We got the speedometer on the left side of the peg like it should be, and the last thing we need to do is just test drive it. So here we go, we're going to give it a test drive, make sure that our fix worked. Backing out of the driveway here. Looks like it's working. Yeah, there we go. Working like it should. Let's go see if we can't peg this thing again, son, huh? What do you think about that? See if we can get this dumpster up to 150. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this rotor. Even though the front doesn't look bad, I've already felt on the back side, and there's quite a bit of a groove, I believe, back there. And